Hello, welcome back to Mithral Brews. My name's Chris, and today we're going to go through how to build an adventure. I'm not going to demo step by step all of the things you need to do to build an adventure. I'm going to take one that I've already built, I've already done everything, and I'll walk through and demonstrate what I was doing and how I was setting it up as I go through it. And then at the end, we're going to package it and bundle it together into an adventure module. The adventure I'm going to demonstrate, so we're going to do is Uni in the Hunt for the Lost Horn. This is a great adventure just for like a one-shot. At the time it was released for players and DMs to run with the new 2024 rule set without having to purchase everything. They gave it away if you had a D&D Beyond subscription. I used this because I thought it's simple and small enough to give you a test of what it would feel like to build the full adventure. If you can build this, and I would say it probably took me 4 to 6 hours to really build. Then if you can build something this small, then you get an idea of like what it would be like to, let's say, build Princess of the Apocalypse or Curse of Strahd or Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Of course, all those would take a lot longer than 4 to 6 hours, but putting this all together gives you a good experience. So this is the one I'm going to do for my demonstration of how to put it all together. Let's switch back over to Foundry. Here in Foundry, we're going to take a look at all the steps I took to set up the adventure. It's really steps that I've used, how I kind of go about building an adventure, and I'm going to show you what I've done. Again, I'm not going to demonstrate how to do it. I think a lot of it's going to make sense once you do it. So let's just get started, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so the first thing I always do is I try to go and I set up all of the actors that are in the adventure. So that with this being from 2024, if we switch back over to D&D Beyond, all I had to do is go through and look at the fact that it has a sprite, it has Bugbear Warriors, it has Bullywug Warriors, it has a Warhorse stat block for Uni. I think I also brought in the Unicorn. Then it has Blink Dog, a Bullywug Bog Sage, and a Wargs and Mage. I brought over the actors from my Monsters Manual 2024. Now, most of these, I think all of them except for... No, actually, I do believe all of these appear in the modern content under actors. So if you don't have the Monsters Manual 2024, the only difference is with these, they're going to have... If we go here, let's say humanoid, and look up the mage, for instance, it has a top-down token. I'm not a big fan of those for the most part, at least for the way I play and run my games. So using the player or the Monsters Manual version was much easier. So you, depending on what you have access to, you might use the 2024 Monsters Manual, or you just use the SRD content from the Modern Content Compendium. But I brought all the actors over. The next thing I do is I go through and look for items that are not in compendiums. So for instance, in the adventure, there's these 4 items. One's a white wig. I think it's on the Bullywug Bog Sage. Then there's a pouch. In the pouch, there's 3 gems worth 100 gold. There's jewelry. Each of the Bullywugs, I do believe, have one of these items on them. They drop when they're defeated. And then there's a jeweled walking stick that I do believe the mage carries that I had to create. So really all I did is create a new item, create loot item. So I even should change this. If I go here to details, I should change this to treasure. It's a loot item, nothing magical about it. But you just make these items, you put them in a folder. So you're going to have a folder in each of the categories. So we had a folder in actors, and we just use the same name. folders into items, made the 4 items. Now there's more than those items. There are items, I do believe there's potions, healing potions that the players can get. That I left in the compendium packs. I'm just going to reference them from the main compendium, and that way I'm not putting them in the world once I unpack this adventure in the future. So I just have the items that I need for this adventure. Then I do the scenes. So in the scenes, you have 2 scenes. You have the woodland pool and you have the crystal ball. If we take a look at the woodland scene, it's just the copy of the image that you can download from D&D Beyond. So let's switch back to that real quick. If I look here, if I go up to any one of these images, so you just right click, save image as. If I want to see the player version, I click the player version, and this is the one I'm going to use for my map. And if I right click, and then I just save image as. And these are going to be PNG files. What you're going to want to do is then, there's many websites that do this to search converter. You can usually do it for free. Sometimes they only limit you to like say 4 images or 8 images. There's a program that I use that I'll link in the chat that is a pretty basic program. I do believe it's free. That you can do it from their webpage, or you can just install the program and have it on your computer and convert files size. You can convert it to a different file type if you don't want to buy the expensive software like Adobe or Affinity Photo. Then I use that image, and then I'll have to align the grid. I'll link a video to a video created by one of the moderators on the Foundry Discord. I think it is a great video that already explains how to get your grids to align. So take a look at that if you want to see how I got it. I don't want to say perfect, but I mean pretty darn close to perfect. You see way over here it's a little bit off, way on the outsides, but along the main part of the map it's set up correctly. Then I dragged all the tokens from the actors and I dragged those onto the sheet, and then from there I renamed the sprites. For instance, one's Willowbrush and the other is Knock. And all I did is, once I have them on the sheet, I just right click, open configuration, and change the name here. I have them set up based on the way the DM's image works, or set up so that it has the tokens in specific spots, and then I set them all as hidden. I also even added the elevation description as under drawing tools. I just drew text and then added the elevation. You can either have them hidden, for instance. So if I go here, right click, I can have them hidden so just the DM sees it, or you can have it visible so the players see it. I think leaving it visible makes the most sense here. I added the bullywug. And when I set those up, I added the bullywugs. And if you see what I did here under the actor sheet, I went under prototype token. I have these set up to do an append incrementing number. I could also prepend random objective. Sometimes those are fun. But for these, because they have a pretty long name and there's so many, I thought just keeping it to the numbers made more sense. Once I have that set, every time I drag one of these from the world folder over here on the sidebar and put them on a canvas, then it will update the name to be a different number. And then I just kind of scattered them randomly as I was dropping them on there. I used Uni. I made Uni the unicorn actor instead of the warhorse actor. And then the other thing that I set up is I have a region control set up where the magical portal is. And here I set it up so that when a token goes into this square here, they're going to be prompted with the option to use the magical portal, and the magical portal will take you to the crystal ball. Here was a little bit more work because once the portal goes in, they come out here. They can also go back through the portal, so that's set up to reverse. I set up scene regions. As you see here, this one will teleport the player to this side of the map. This one over here will teleport them to this side of the map, and vice versa. They'll be able to go back and forth without having to pick and move their tokens around. They can just do it through the portals or through the scene regions. Then I added all the tokens here. This one's a little bit more difficult. I set up walls, and you'll see there's a lot of funkiness going on here. So I traced these walls around these terrain walls around these thorn bushes, because the bullywug can actually shove characters, or will attempt to shove characters into the thorn bushes, which causes them to have the restrain condition as they're trying to fight out. I don't believe it does any damage, but forces them to make a save and possibly get restrained in the thorn bushes. The players could do that too, but you'll also see that I did another interior wall, so that they can't see through them completely. If they get shoved in from this square here and they want to go into this square, we don't want them to be able to see through everything here, and they get the idea of the layout. So the walls here would create another obstacle for them to see through, but they also can't move through here. I guess if they wanted to, I could set that up for them to move through. That's what I set up here. I set up these journal links so that you can pull up the journal and open up the description of the room and be able to read those. I'll get to that in a second. Set up walls around this tent, and I have all the enemies already set up into place based on the adventure, of course hidden at the time. That is setting up the scenes. I have them set up in a folder like the other ones. I used the same color code, which all I did was just take the eyedropper and use this color here on the folder. So that as you see, the folders are all the same color. And then last thing that I did to set the adventure up is I created 2 journals. One is an art journal. I'm not taking credit for this because this is how the Foundry team sets up their premium products, or their premium modules. In their premium modules, they usually have art journal, and the reason for that is you can then configure and let player, once you show it to players, you can make them observers so that they now have access to that specific journal page, and can reference back to that. So let's say they found a map of the crystal ball and you wanted to share that with them. Have it in an art journal and just share them the page of the art journal. You don't then need to share with them anything that might be in addition to this art page. So it's kind of like handouts. If you made handouts, if this had handouts, this is where I would put that handout in addition to the art. Then under the journals, I have it set up pretty much the same way it's set up in D&D Beyond. So if we go back over to D&D Beyond and we look at the table of contents here, and then switch back to Foundry, you'll see that it's set up pretty much the same way. All I did is cut and paste at first. Then I kind of cleaned up the formatting, because cutting and pasting will sometimes, depending on how you have your computer set up, might change how you cut and paste and how it shows up into each page. These pages were set up as map locations, and then I indented them, just kind of associate those as map locations. You'll also see they have their map location number here. They're all set up, and so I'm going to go here to one of the first sections, and you'll see that it also is set up with descriptions. To do that, you would go under, you would cut and paste from your source. Then under the HTML, you could change the class here to FVTT narrative. This all can be found under the D&D wiki, which is easy to find because it's under settings, and you just click this button, go to D&D Wiki, and look up HTML settings. I have that set up, and then I have links to the different things I need. So the links to the character actor from the world. All I had to do is use the world actor to link to here. I'm going to leave another video that I think was made recently by Cantrips Media. Really awesome one about how to set up your journals and do all these cool things like link rules, link conditions, link saves. I think she did a great job of building that video to help you out, so no need for me to repeat what is already done just as good, if not better than what I would do. So this is all set up. I did the second map. Everything's all set up. As you notice too, I have embedded these images, and to do that under the journal, and if you have the art journal, so there's the journal, here's the image, and you'll see it says embed, and all he did is grab the image that I wanted to embed. So this was the DM version of the image. So I went here, I opened the edit, and you see these little boxes here. These are your UUIDs. So I copied that. I put at embed brackets, and then put that in the in between the brackets. Turn the caption off because it would show two captions. And I don't even think I need this, so let me remove this. That's not necessary. Yeah, there you go. And that embeds the image into your journal. Now, nice thing is you can, if it's embedded into the journal as you're going through, if this was an image I would want to share, I would click here and then be able to quickly show my players. If I click here and show my players, and now I want them to have access to that later, then I would go into the art, right click, change configuration, and let them set up as observer. That's how to set up the journal. Now you'll see that I did one extra thing that you might not need to do, is I made all of the actors as pre-made characters that are part of this adventure, so that I can just run this with any group of players, up to 7 players. I do believe there's enough actors without a whole lot of startup time. So this is great, like if you're a new DM or you're just new to Foundry and you're new to building adventures, and you did something like this and you said, hey, let's just play a quick I think this would probably take 3, maybe 4 hours to run, and then you wanted to have them have pre-made characters. Now, the reason why you would want to make this all into adventure, right? I have everything in the world set up here, the scenes, the actors, the items, and the journal. I have those all set up. There were no tables part of this adventure, no cards, no macros needed. You could set up a playlist if you want. Now, if I want to use this again, I don't want to have to rebuild every time. So as it is right now, if I ran combat and against these tokens, and let's say I move them or delete them and don't have them ready, then I'm going to have to reset this up if I ever want to run that adventure again. Maybe I have a different group that I want to run. Maybe I'm not a pro DM, but maybe I'm a pro DM that runs this adventure every week on Fridays for new players. I don't want to have to constantly go back and reset all this up. I also, once I'm done using it, this was 6 hours of my time. I don't want to lose all this work that I did. I might want to use it again in another way, especially if you create items. I don't want to lose all that. So a couple things you can do, like if you create items and you think that you might use those items again, put them in your compendium, under the items under your compendium, and make it make folders that maybe you're the name of where those items came from. If you made new enemies, new monsters, new encounters, put it under the bestiary, or make a bestiary compendium within your folders here, and put your new items there so that you can use it later in other adventures. But for this adventure, you don't want to you don't want to lose all the work you just did. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under adventures. It's a compendium that I set up in my personal module. I'm going to toggle the edit lock, which looks like I already did. As you see, I've already built Princess of the Apocalypse in its entirety, and I have an adventure module set up. I think I moved the image here, but that's why you see the Princess of the Apocalypse, the missing image link, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And I'm going to hit create adventure. Now what I'm going to name the adventure. So we're going to name it Uni and the Hunt for the Lost Horn. And if you have an image that you want to use to set up as a banner image, it gives you the size of the image and what it should be. I do have that set up already, so this I had to hunt down. I think I found it on D&D Beyond as under one of their posts when they were talking about it. I could put a caption here that displays beneath the banner image. I can also put an adventure description. I might run that, just grab that from the beginning here, even though I have it part of the journal. Then again, this is where we gotta fix some of the layout. So we can save that. That way it has adventure description if I want. I could put other information here. Sort order, configure the sorted order of this document related to others in its collection. I'm not quite sure what that is. I wonder if it's in, yeah, unfortunately I'm not sure what that is, but I've never messed with that. All I care about at this point is the contents. So I'm just grab each of these folders. So you see it'll turn green when everything's loaded correctly. Journals. So now I have all of the content I just made. It is all going to be put into and packaged up in this adventure, and then I'm going to build adventure. And there we go. Now there's your adventure. There's the background scene banner image that I've used. There's the name, there's the description, and this tells you the contents of this adventure is going to have 16 actors, 5 items, 2 journal entries, 2 scenes, and 5 folders. Let's do this. So I'm going to take a big risk here live on video, recording this. I guess it's not live, but recording this in real time. So I'm going to delete everything that's in this folder. And I'm going to delete everything that's in this folder. So 6 hours of work is now completely gone. And if I wanted to reload all that, I'm going to click here and I'm going to import the adventure. Let it import. There's our crystal ball. There's our tokens all set up, ready to go. I'm gonna let's activate this. The woodland one. Unicorn is on there. It did not keep the names, it looks like. Or maybe, you know what, I think this one I might have done something to change the name, but you do see that it still has the restrain. It even kept the condition. all the player actors, pre-made character actors here are still there. They're all still linked, so we can still open up their character sheets. Go here again, there's all the actors. Here's the items. And then if we look at the journals, a good way to see if you did everything right is the journals will still have all the links to items that you need. So there's the wish spell. There's the sprite, it's connected. There's, see, you have the jewelry that's connected. Everything is set up correctly from the looks of it. And that's it. That's the 4 items. So that was pretty easy. The hard work is putting it all together, but once you bundle it and package it, it's pretty simple to do. And with that, I have the adventure set up. I hope you found this informative. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I do hope to have updates like this out every week around this time, or usually on Mondays, maybe Tuesdays. And then I'm going to do some more content building similar to this adventure. As you see, I've already started doing a adventure called Night of the Walking Dead, a old 2nd edition adventure that I'm working on converting. I might do some videos on what I'm doing and how I got there with that one. The other videos I might do is breaking these different sections down a little bit more, but if you feel like that makes sense, let me know in the comments below. If there's some content or something that you would like me to show and how to build on video, let me know below too. So I appreciate the subscribers that have the individuals that have already subscribed to the channel. I plan to bring more. Thanks, and let all your brews be tasty.